As we move forward to implement optimal revenue management system, a number of forms were reviewed to improve readability by simplifying the language and layout. These forms are now fit for purpose, whereas they are consistent with the updated laws and regulations. It will ease the internal administrative chores of the GRA.
Oh, that is quite a situation.
What new returns were introduced? 3 new returns were introduced. First, we have the capital gains tax return. In the past, the GRA allowed taxpayers to freely write or print the required information with no standard sequence or order. This is what the new form looks like. You would notice that all the fields are mandatory, but you are only required to insert figures that are applicable to you. For example, if you sold or transferred land, enter the respective figures in line 4, 5, 6, or 7. For fields which are not applicable to you, simply insert 0. It requires the taxpayer to fill in his or her personal information, such as their TIN, address, and name. If the name and address were changed recently, taxpayers must indicate so by ticking the changed box and input the updated details in the required fields. Under personal information, taxpayers will be required to complete the summary of transactions to indicate their net gains. This figure includes cost of acquisition, such as land, minus the allowed expenses, such as improvements. After completing lines 4 to 13, add the total for the given year and insert the net capital gain in line 14. The exemption for capital gains is $500,000. Anything over $500,000, taxpayers are expected to pay capital gains on the entire amount. Insert the net chargeable capital gain in line 16. In line 17, insert the rate of tax, which is 20%, and conclude the summary of transaction by multiplying the net chargeable capital gain by the tax rate to obtain the total tax payable in line 18. Finally, don't forget to complete the declaration section where you must sign and date the return. This return must be submitted with the supplemental documents to prove that the transaction transpired. Next up, the partnership return. This return was reintroduced to support better administration for this category of taxpayers. It is much different from the individual income tax return, where the return preparer must describe the major business activity and identify 3 main products or services the business provides with the estimated percentage of revenue each represent. In addition to the tax computation section, the preparer must complete the share of income details. This is where specifics like the partner's TIN, name, and address must be stated. Furthermore, the partner's type, basis of profit distribution, and amount of partners' or beneficiaries' share of the income need to be declared. Finally, there is the tributor's tax return. This return must be submitted quarterly and annually. The quarterly return is due on the end of each quarter, that is April 1, July 1, October 1, and December 31, while the annual return is due on February 28 of the following year. At the top of the return, the taxpayer is expected to enter the period, that is, the start and the end dates of the period covered. In the case of the yearly return, enter the year in which the income was earned and tax was deducted. The number of continuation sheets basically asks how many supplementary sheets were used as part of this return submission. Both returns are similar since they require the preparer to indicate important information about the employees of the business. Are there any new registration forms? Yes. Instead of using the compliance form to apply for the tax practice professional certificate, taxpayers can utilize the professional fee application form. It's very simple and straightforward to complete. Registration forms or taxpayer identification number forms for individuals and organizations were revamped and includes a section for your bank account details. For the individual registration form, there are sections for persons conducting a sole trader or partnership business. Section B demands details for conducting a trade or a business and value-added tax. There is also a Section C, which allows individuals to apply for an estate TIN. The organization registration form is somewhat similar but goes in depth into the functions of the business. Section B asks precise questions about the organization, while Section C wants to know about the business activity. Section D seeks data about the business locations. Section E, excise tax details. Section F, VAT details. Section G requires information about owners, directors, and partners, etc. And finally, Section H seeks information about tax holiday. Electronic returns. Some returns were redesigned to facilitate taxpayers exporting data from their individual systems and subsequently uploading to the GRA's e-services. These include forms for withholding tax, travel tax, and travel voucher tax, and PAYE monthly and annual returns. The CSV file format was specifically chosen since it allows taxpayers to use Microsoft Excel to easily add data if they do not have automated systems. Were any other changes made to tax returns? A number of changes were made to the corporation tax, individual income tax, property tax, premium tax, tax on bets, VAT, and excise tax returns. Where can I find help to fill out these forms? Guides to these forms can be found on the Optimal website, www.gra.gov.gy/optimal.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Okay, Derek, I love you. But that is relevant information we could have used sooner.
Thanks for watching.